Yeah. This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Always grateful to be here with you guys. Got to start the show with gratitude. Always got to start the show with gratitude. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. You guys always show love. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show, especially if you're new. Always appreciate the love. Always appreciate newcomers. It goes without saying. Now, today's live stream is probably going to be maybe an hour and a half tops. That's the game plan for today. Obviously things came out with, Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy with their new podcast. They were talking about Chip Kelly, and full transparency, I didn't get the chance to lock in on that yet. I didn't get a chance to really listen to that podcast thoroughly, but I've read things, I've heard things, and it kind of went exactly how I expected it to go. So yeah, we might not get too deep into that. If you guys bring up different talking points, I'll react to it, things of that nature. But I really want to talk to you guys about the coaching staff, right? And again, before we get into that, we got people still coming into the show, so I'm gonna try to pace this thing a little bit. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button as you guys come into the building. Goes a long way in this YouTube space. And the show has been growing tremendously. I mean, every time I come back to the channel, every time I check on my analytics, I always see the subscribers going up. I see the views going up. I see traction with the content, and you guys are responding pretty well to it. So I don't take that for granted whatsoever. Let's do some quick shout outs though. Shout out to my man RJ G Dragon. What's good? D Block. Dragon says, Tone, make sure you remember us when this live chat has hundreds of people in it. I got you, man. I got you. RJ says, to be honest, I still think Fangio is a fraud. His defense don't work for real. Ty Banks live. What's going on, my man? Welcome to the show. It's funny. The Vic Fangio defense, for a guy to be in the league that long, doing what he's done, and obviously with 40 years of pro football experience, you're constantly trying to reinvent yourself. You're always forced to alter or adjust your approach to the game. Regardless of how much you know, you still got to always approach things with the mindset of what you don't know. So I think Vic Fangio coming to the Philadelphia Eagles, it will be interesting to watch, to say the least. The only concern I do have, and I've mentioned this to you guys before, the only concern I do have about Vic Fangio being in Philadelphia is this supposed to be some early retirement package? Or is he really here to win football games and change the way this defense looks? That's something I'm concerned about. I watched this press conference today, and overall, and I think this was his first time actually speaking as the D coordinator, if I'm not mistaken. I think this probably was the first time. If I could be wrong, I can't remember. But from what I saw, he's definitely bringing a different energy and a different attitude that wasn't on the Philadelphia Eagles in a while. He has a certain stoicism about him, or stoicism, however you want to use that. There is a certain energy about him that gives authoritarian, or he comes off as a strong authoritative figure, but also he comes off as a guy that's no nonsense. If you notice in that press conference, he didn't really mince words. He didn't really waste any words either. He didn't give the media any more or any less than what they probably deserved to know at that time. They asked him questions about the defense and how it's going to look, how they're going to use certain guys. Will they drop back edge rushers? What's going to be the game plan? What was his thoughts on the Eagles last year, and what can he bring to the table to change that and all that kind of stuff? And obviously, when things went south with the Philadelphia Eagles on defense, and we're also going to get into the Kellen Moore side of things. But when it comes to Vic Fangio, he mentioned something in his press conference that stood out to me. He said, when things start to go south, just know it's never just one thing. It's always more than just one thing. It's everyone's fingerprints is on the failure, right? But even besides that, on defense, if you sort of if you sort of run a wall or you hit a slump or things just aren't working, there's no magic scheme or magic play call that he can execute or that he can put out there that's going to just automatically change their fortune, because eventually it gets found out and eventually you get gashed, right? But what he was saying that at the end of the day, when things aren't going right, when there's a lot of dysfunction or a lot of confusion about what's expected, you go back to the basics. You go back to the fundamentals. You go back to refining technique and refining knowledge of terminology, knowledge of your role, so on and so forth. And I think that's a pretty important concept to have, because I think that's what was missing last year. Instead of doubling down on the fundamentals, the Philadelphia Eagles decided to throw an entirely different defensive coordinator at their defense and expected them to just change its fortune. Like Vic Fangio said, you can't just expect a magic scheme to just or a magic play call to just change everything you're doing. It's not that simple. And see, in football, momentum is a real thing. And once that snowball gets going downhill, it's hard to stop. So again, that Philadelphia Eagles defense, they needed to go back to the basics last year, and they never gave themselves a fair shot at doing that. When you demote Sean Desai and you promote Matt Patricia to be your interim DC, overall, it's just not a good look, and it ultimately doesn't serve your players in any shape, way, or form. So that's that. He again, he didn't really give too many details on what we can expect. That's the reality. And you really can't, you have to curb your expectations when it comes to these press conferences, because after you watch a lot of them, you realize that they all start to sound the same. And you realize that these coaches or these players really aren't giving you anything. You have to sort of read between the lines, and you use it as an opportunity to maybe rehash a talking point that maybe hasn't been talked about in a while, or you use it as an opportunity, to touch on a topic that the press conference can kind of set the stage for. And in that case, setting the stage for this Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff and how much pressure they're under and how this is a situation that cannot be fumbled. The Philadelphia Eagles are not in a position to fumble their coaching staff again. It cannot happen. You brought in Brian Johnson and Sean Desai last year, first-year guys doing the job, and you fire them a year later. Then you bring in an entirely new OC and Kellen Moore, an entirely new DC and Vic Fangio. And now your players have had their third OC in the Nick Sirianni era. They've had their fourth DC or their fourth DC in the Nick Sirianni era. And Nick Sirianni is only entering, I believe, year 4 of his tenure as the Philadelphia Eagles head coach. So in the 4 years he's been here, or the 4 seasons it will be since he's been here, 4 different OCs and 4 different DCs. Or 3 different, let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, 3 different OCs, 4 different DCs. It's not a good look. Now, things happen. Obviously, Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon, they were here for 2 years, and they got better jobs as head coaches, and they seem like they're on the right track with their respective organizations. So I'm not mad at them wanting to advance their careers. I get that, right? You always want to continue to grow. You always want to continue to elevate yourself and springboard yourself forward. But things really went south in the Brian Johnson, Sean Desai experiment. If you throw in Matt Patricia in there as well, things really went south. So if you want to take away the Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon aspect, in reality, I really don't want to, because it's still a part of the narrative. Regardless, 4 different DCs, 3 different OCs in the Nick Sirianni era. That's pretty insane. So that's the kind of thing that you don't want to continue to happen. As much as I talk about this potentially being a early retirement package for Vic Fangio, and it's something that I am concerned about. Could this be a situation where although he sees this as his last stop, this could provide some much needed stability for the defensive side? But that begs the question: when will Vic Fangio call it quits? Is he going to give the Philadelphia Eagles 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? What's his plan? Because it would really bother me if he came here for one season and then just cut ties. Now, granted, I need to look into what contract he signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not sure how long or how many years are on his deal. Let me see if I can find that out here. But Vic Fangio is a guy that, despite what you may feel about him personally, he's well respected. He's well respected, and you got to give credit where credit is due. So let me find out how long his contract is. Let's see. All right. Okay, I'm not seeing any years here. If we had to guess, what do you think he signed? A 3-year deal? Because I'm not seeing any years when it comes to Vic Fangio. 3, okay. So he signed a 3-year deal. No. That's Miami, I think. Let me see. Nah, they got the Miami deal, but yeah, I don't know. I'm going to assume Fangio probably signed a 3-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to assume that. But it's 3 years. I mean, 3 years is reasonable, I guess. But overall, I just want these players. I just want the players to continue to develop. I want them to know what they're doing and why they're doing it. I think that's going to be the most important thing. And then Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore, he came on. I like pretty much what he had to say. And obviously coaching in Dallas, you do pretty well with the media, I would imagine. So he didn't seem flustered. He didn't seem out of sorts. I liked how he answered everything. And the one thing he said to me that stood out, and it was related to when he was speaking about Jalen Hurts. And he mentioned how his main concern when it comes to Jalen Hurts is making sure he gets a feel for how Hurts processes the game, especially in the film room. Let me see. All right. Okay, so as Blunt, I read that, and if you notice, that's hired in early February 2023. That's the Miami deal. You feel me? If he was hired in February 2023, the 2023 season starts in September. So that's more so that was the Miami deal. But yeah, Kellen Moore, I know a lot of people have had their concerns in terms of how he's going to use Jalen Hurts and what's his game plan for his overall development and making sure the scheme and the offense is catered to his skill set and how can he maximize his skill set, right? It's something that we're going to monitor. It's something to reasonably be concerned about. But I also think Kellen Moore, along with Doug Nussmeier, and he brought him up as well, his dynamic with Doug Nussmeier is going to be thus. Moore is going to focus more on making sure the quarterback executes the scheme and the game plan properly. And then Nussmeier, his job is going to be more so focused on fundamentals, technique, and mechanics, making sure Jalen Hurts fundamentally from top to bottom or from bottom up is executing his job to the best of his ability, right? Making sure that he's still maneuvering well in that pocket, having good instincts, things of that nature. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing pans out in the long term. But I think the one thing we have to acknowledge when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, in particular on offense and defense, is that they were extremely lackluster last year. And it seemed like there was so much dysfunction internally that you had a hard time pointing the finger and figuring out who was really the issue. Right. But you go into this season after signing or re-signing rather, AJ Brown, you re-signed Devontae Smith on offense, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata. Obviously Hurts is who he is with his contract. The offensive line is intact. You got Goddard. You signed Saquon Barkley. That's a lot. That's a lot of personnel. That's some high quality personnel to be able to play with. So Kellen Moore has a lot at his disposal. I fully expect him to be able to maximize that. That's my expectation. Fangio, on the other hand, his assignment is a little bit more murky because there's relatively half that defense is unknown in terms of what we expect or what we've seen them do, right? Some part of that defense, a large part of that defense is just they got to get back on track, man. A lot of people aren't really up on Jordan Davis right now. A lot of people aren't confident in the Kobe Dean right now. A lot of people are, have their concerns about the linebacker position. And by the way, I must say all of those concerns are very, very reasonable. If you guys are just joining the live stream, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are locked in. Really appreciate it. Content doesn't move without the people. But yeah, on the defensive side, you got personnel that you brought in via draft, via free agency. And granted, as a fan base, the Philadelphia Eagles fan base is extremely excited, right? It's really exciting to see. But we don't know how good Quinyon Mitchell's going to be. We expect, right? We have high expectations. We don't know how good Quinyon Mitchell's going to be. We don't know how good Cooper DeJean is going to be, right? We don't know how good Bryce Huff is going to be. CJ, can he stay healthy, right? What's James Bradbury's future? Will Darius Slay fall off the cliff, or will he ride off into the sunset? What's the overall feeling surrounding that defense? It's very, very murky. Very murky. But you have a ton of players who are extremely versatile in their own right. A la Cooper DeJean, and we were talking about him, I believe, the other day. You have a ton of guys who are versatile. But I'm of the mindset that although you have players who are versatile physically, and he said this, which really stood out to me. Vic Fangio said this. He mentioned how, you can have players on your roster who physically are versatile, right? Because of their God-given abilities and God-given physical traits, it would lend you to believe that they're versatile and you can use them in a multitude of ways. But in football, it goes beyond just the physical traits. He can be versatile physically, but is he versatile mentally? The more you learn or the more you take on, you begin to start to wear yourself thin. And then at that point, you're not being maximized anymore. Now you're just a zombie out there. So in the case of Cooper DeJean, Fangio mentioned how it's vital to establish a primary position for him. Primary. Where is he primarily going to be used? How do we primarily want to use him? How can we primarily maximize his skill set? And then based off how the player handles that, how they respond to it, if they pick it up quick, if they're retaining it, if they're executing it, then you can tack on the secondary role or the secondary responsibilities. And then you can probably tack on the tertiary responsibilities or the tertiary role or job duties, right? So regardless, what I heard from Vic Fangio, what I saw was a guy that demands respect, commands the room, is poised. He's been doing this for 40 years. So you wouldn't expect anything less. But regardless, though, we're all still relatively concerned about this defense. Troll King. What's going on, my man? Okay, let's see here. I'm having a little bit some issues. Oh, okay. Anyway, Troll King says, I'm even more confident in Fangio now. Yeah, I can understand that. Again, he brings a certain attitude, he brings a certain gravitas. I totally understand that. But we have to see it play out because a lot of people aren't really high on his style of defense. Well, a lot of fans aren't. Thy dank is murder. He says Fangio is a legend in the game. Every defense uses some form of his defense. Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. I believe if I had to give a rough estimate, over 70% of the NFL uses his defensive concepts. Let's see here. Jason A-Team says, I have a bad feeling we will start slow this year. Green Bay might beat us. I mean, anything's possible. Anything's possible. But I personally have a feeling that this team is going to come in very prepared, physically, especially. I have a strong feeling that this team is going to come in prepared. I think his murder said he wants it to be clean. Don't give him too much to think. Yeah, you're talking about Kellen Moore, right? Yeah, that stood out to me too. I'm glad you said that. The one thing he kept preaching was cleaning up the communication, knowing exactly what's expected of you, making sure everybody, including Cam Jurgens and the offensive line, receivers, tight ends, quarterback, making sure everybody's on the same page. And because personally, as a matter of fact, it's not even personally, it's factually. There were way too many occasions where you saw receivers running routes in the same area within like a 5-yard radius of each other. It was unbecoming. It was something I didn't understand. I didn't quite understand how Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni would come up with these route concepts and have these players almost damn near running into each other. They have no room to work because you're stacking these routes on each other. They didn't help themselves with that. But like you said, Dank, they're going to have to clean up the communication, make sure Jalen Hurts knows exactly what's expected, make sure he knows exactly making sure he knows exactly how he should flow through his progressions. Line checks at the offensive line, Cam Jurgens. It's all going to be really interesting to watch. D Block, he says, I think Smitty will have a career year under Moore. That's the hope. I think Smitty's going to have a really good year as well. I think it's going to be par for the course and more. I think Devontae Smith got his deal done. The way he got it done is because he wanted to be able to focus on football and focus on training camp in the offseason. There are some players who value their peace more than an extra couple million. And I can respect people like that. Like there are people who would rather have their peace than make more money. If somebody told you, yeah, I can guarantee you a 500K salary annually, but you'll have a lot of stress on your plate, or I can guarantee you a $400,000 or a $350,000 salary, but your stress level significantly drops. I think me personally, I'm taking the 350 to 400K with less stress. So I think Smitty signed his deal the way he did and handled it the way he did is because he wanted to be able to focus on football. He didn't want to have to go through the whole negotiation process of trying to fight for more money when a guy like him doesn't, again, the way he's carried himself, the way he moves around, he seems like the kind of guy that wants to take care of business as soon as possible and focus on his task at hand, and that's football. and didn't want to carry that stress into training camp and things of that nature. Didn't want to carry that stress into your household, right? That's the kind of stuff that follows you home. Your contract negotiations, battling for what you want and what you feel like you deserve and what you feel like you should have what you feel like you're owed and things of that nature. All that stuff weighs on you. And that can trickle down to how you treat your wife, how you treat your lady, how you treat your kids, how you handle business, how you handle preparation. So much goes into it. So I respect Devontae Smith for wanting to get his contract done as soon as possible, and that gives him plenty more free mind or free focus to lock in on what Kellen Moore is expecting of the guy. So yeah, I agree, D Block. I think Smitty's going to have a really great year under Kellen Moore. And then Peter Riley brings up the play action factor. I think that's something that's been missing from the Philadelphia Eagles defense. They haven't really had a consistent play action game. My man Infamous says a coordinator who makes players play their system regardless of fit is a bad coordinator. Just being honest. Well, I mean, yeah, that's obvious. I mean, I think Fangio even said that at the end of the day, regardless of what I call, you need good players. Regardless of what I do, you need players that are capable of doing it. Private McClunky. He says, Tone, would you have one of Rex Ryan as DC? Fuck no. It's Rex Ryan just is annoying, and it's just highly problematic, in my opinion. I don't know the man from a can of paint, but Rex Ryan he's been away from the game for years in terms of the coaching ranks. I mean, no, I'm cool off that. I'm cool off Rex Ryan and his veneers. Davey says Jason Kelce must be regretting retirement already. He's arguing with people on Twitter over horse racing. Yeah, I've never gotten into horse racing, but look, man, Kelce doesn't. I don't think Kelce has any regrets. I think Kelce is perfectly content. He left everything out on the field. He has nothing to prove. I mean, at least to me, he has nothing left to prove. He's checked every box as a former All-Pro, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion. He's going to be an Eagles Hall of Famer. He's going to the NFL Hall of Fame. It goes without saying. Division titles, conference championships, Super Bowl ring, multiple first team All-Pros, multiple Pro Bowls. He's checked every box that one can check at his position. So I personally don't think he regrets anything. I think it excites him knowing that Saquon Barkley is there and all that kind. I think it excites him. I think I feel like it makes him think like, ooh, what if I stay? Ooh, that's probably going to be fun. I'm definitely, matter of fact, I'm almost positive that it definitely excites him and it makes him think about, hey, what it would be like. But I don't think he regrets anything. I think he's honestly having too much fun. He's enjoying the free time, enjoying the off season the first off season in a long time where he doesn't really have to worry about football. He can just be creative and do his own thing. I don't think he regrets anything. My man FaZe, he said everybody on this Drake and Kendrick Eagles content ain't getting the love. Yo, you know what's funny, man? Like I've been so locked into the Kendrick Drake battle because I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. Huge Kendrick Lamar fan. I'm also a fan of Drake's music too. I like Drake. I don't like these days. I don't like everything he does. And personally, for me, his music doesn't live long enough in my rotations. It's been a long time since Drake has put out music that's lived in my rotation. Now, are there songs here and there for sure And do I always listen to the Drake albums when they drop? Absolutely. I always lock in when Drake drops music, always, because I think Drake is a talented artist. I think Drake is one of the best, rappers that we've seen, grace the craft. He's talented, he's versatile, can sing, rap, charismatic. He's a top tier performer. He's an icon. Personally, I think he's a pop star these days. I think Drake is a pop star. And I honestly don't look at him in that traditional hip hop lens. But Kendrick Lamar, I think Kendrick Lamar is one of one. I think Kendrick Lamar is a god MC. I personally don't think Drake can hold water to. I personally don't think Drake can hold water when it comes to Kendrick's pen. That's my humble opinion. That's just me. But that's not saying Drake is not a top tier MC as well. But Kendrick, man, I just did the creativity, the quality of the projects, just top to bottom. I mean, the creativity with the voice, the vocal inflections, the cadence, the confidence, the passion, the aggression in some of his bars, the self-reflection, the transparency, the how vulnerable he is. All right, let me check Infamous real quick. Let me check Infamous. So Infamous said, Kenny just a liar, bro. Got exposed for the lies he said. Bro, let me make this clear to the young folk. And by the way, I work for the school district near me, and they always say when you feel like you need to get a pulse of what's going on or what's popping, you tap in with the youth, right? And I was talking to these 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 16. I was, just trying to get a sense for how they feeling about this whole thing, right? And the young people, the 13, the 14, the 15, the 16-year-olds, they saying Drake got washed. They're saying Drake got cooked. That's what they're saying. That's what the young people are saying. And me personally, I never would have thought that the young people would be rolling with Kendrick like this. The young people, because Drake makes music for young people. Drake makes music for the 16, 17, 18, people in their early 20s. Drake makes music for young people. So when I heard young people saying they was off of Drake and how Kendrick is running circles around him, when I heard the young people say that told me everything I needed to know. That told me everything I needed to know. But here's the thing. I'm grateful that Drake and Kendrick gave us what they gave us. I feel like Drake came out and he threw his best. He threw whatever he had. He emptied the clip, and Kendrick emptied the clip, and it happened the way it happened. The reason I spoke to the young people is because, again, I know Drake has a stranglehold on young people. So I was shocked to hear them say Kendrick was up, because at the end of the day, young people like what they like. At the end of the day, young people go what was hot or what's more palatable. Kendrick is an artist that's very layered. He's a very layered artist. So when I hear young people talking about Kendrick the way they talk about him, and Drake is an artist that's not really that layered. Let's be honest. Drake is not a complex artist to follow. Drake is not a complex artist to listen to. He's not. He's very easy to listen to. He's very easy on the ears. His lyrics are very palatable. But Kendrick Lamar, his lyrics can be complex. His concepts can be complex. The bottom line is nobody got caught lying about nothing. Here's the thing, though, right? Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Infamous, you say he got caught lying. Who caught him lying? Who caught him lying? Because Drake hasn't provided receipts. And that's my problem, right? Everybody keep talking about this person lied, this person lies. It's hip hop. All these motherfuckers is lying. All these young people was lying. I mean, all these rappers, they're rappers. It's the WWE. So in a rap beef, nobody's looking for truths. That's why I don't understand this notion of like, oh, like he's lying about this, he's lying about that. Well, no one cares. It's all about who delivered the lie the best. Who delivered lies that was more believable. That's what it's about. Did people back in the day fact check Tupac to make sure? Let's be real. Did we really fact check Tupac to find out if he fucked Biggie's wife? Did we fact check that? Did we fact check if Jay-Z really left the condom on Nas' baby car seat? Did we fact check that? So all the whole like, oh, he lied and he got caught in the lie. Nobody got caught in the lie. So just because Infamous says, nah, the distance between Tupac and Biggie wasn't a lie. Bro. Tupac said, that's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. That's what he said. And it never came out if it was true or false. And nobody, to this day, nobody cares. It's all about who delivered the lie the best. And the reality is, let's be honest. The whole narrative about a mole being planted in Drake's camp or whatever it may be, that was on Twitter a week before Drake even said something about it. So if you listen to the Heart Part 6, everything he mentioned about trying to dispel the rumors, it was on Twitter. It sounded like Drake went right to Twitter and pulled all that from there and just said, I'm putting that in my bars, right? See, the bottom line is, like, I'm not looking for these guys to tell me the truth or not. I'm looking for these guys to deliver a gut punch. I'm looking for these guys to rap the best and deliver whatever they got. And the reality is, a lot of Drake fans are upset. They're upset. They feel like their king got bamboozled, or they feel like their king got taken advantage of, or they feel like their king didn't get a fair shake. It don't matter. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my God, you like now look, in reality, if you accuse somebody of pedophilia or if you accuse somebody of beating a wife, those are real offenses. Those are legitimate offenses, right? But here's where Drake went wrong. And now you guys got me talking about, oh, by the way, let me make this clear too. The Heart Part 6, elite lyricism, by the way. The Heart Part 6, Drake, elite lyricism. He was floating on there. Let me make that very clear. Elite lyricism by Drake throughout the entire battle. Kendrick Lamar, elite lyricism, but just stand on Drake on the Heart Part 6, elite lyricism. But he was copping a plea. And here's the reality. Drake doesn't look that good on defense. Drake sounds way better on offense. Oh, yeah, that's right. My bad, Infamous. You're right. Yeah, the last thing I want to do is get pulled. I don't want to get flagged. Yeah, let me not say that again. The PD rule, the P word. That's a good point. Appreciate it, Infamous. I totally forgot about that. Let me not say that word. But y'all the pocket. But yeah, you accuse somebody of, the crimes that the PDF file. Calgary in front of the PDF file. That's funny. I like that. When you accuse somebody of the PDF, it's like, what? Come on. It's crazy. But here's the thing, right? This is why, and you can tell it's the off season because at this point we just talking. We just kicking it at this point. But the reason why the Kendrick lies actually landed versus the Drake lies is because every time Kendrick lied, or let me not even say every time Kendrick lied. Every time Kendrick delivered a shot or an allegation, you know what Drake did? He ran to the internet to try to dispel it. That's not what we're here for. Every time Drake threw an allegation Kendrick way, you know what he did? He was quiet. He didn't say a word. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Like, people can lie on you all day. How do you respond? Exactly. Exactly. That just goes to show you. That just goes to show you the difference between the two men. One person is sensitive. The other person knows how to sit quiet and let the dust settle. What was displayed the most? What was displayed the most was how rap beef and rap diss tracks have really changed, right? Now we're in this. Now I will say this though. Me personally, I prefer. Hey, listen, just out rap the person, just out rap them, right? And also, here's another thing too. Here's another thing that we got to keep in mind here. Drake is the one that went low first. Drake is the one that went low first. Remember, he mentioned Kendrick's wife's name. He mentioned Kendrick's wife's name or his fiance's name. Drake always makes the same mistakes. He made the same mistake with Pusha T, and he made the same mistake with Kendrick Lamar. You mentioned their wife. And then once you do that, now you can't dictate how somebody responds. You just can't. But look, man, that's not why we're really here, man. As much as I love talking about hip hop, it's one of my favorite things outside of sports. Like I love hip hop. I'm really keyed in on it. But the reality is, regardless of who you root for, the fact stands. Kendrick Lamar in one swoop changed the way you view two of the top rappers in the game. Kendrick Lamar changed how you view J. Cole, and he's altered how you view Drake. That's a fact. It's not opinion. That's just what happened. Kendrick Lamar outclassed, out executed. He completely just out everythinged him. He made better decisions. He was more calculated. He executed better. He just handled the situation better than him. He handled it better. Oh man, I can't even entertain you said Tory Lanez is in this conversation. Infamous says, not gonna lie though, Tone, do you genuinely think Kendrick could get away with those things with Cole? I don't think so. You mean those same allegations? You want to know why? You want to know why? Because why he wouldn't or couldn't? Because here's the thing. Here's what we got to acknowledge. We got to acknowledge this, right? Drake, the image that Drake has cultivated for himself, everything that Drake has done has led up to this moment. Those allegations about Drake wouldn't be out there if there wasn't moments where people felt like that was a little creepy about Drake. Like that didn't just come out of nowhere, is what I'm trying to say, right? Like Kendrick didn't just make up, oh, he's a PDF. He didn't just say that out of nowhere, right? There's footage, there's instances of Drake exhibiting creepy behavior. It's out there. So when you enter a battle and you're going up against an assassin like Kendrick Lamar, somebody who's thoughtful, someone who takes their time with their music, you have to be prepared for if he goes and digs into your dirty laundry like that. Now, me personally, I don't think Drake is a PDF. I just think he likes young girls or young women. Sorry. I don't think Drake is a PDF. I think he just likes younger women. Drake is 37 years old. I think he just has an affinity for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old woman. That's his preference. I'm not here to judge him about that. It is what it is. Do I agree with it? No, but it is what it is. I don't think Drake is a PDF. I think he has a preference for younger women. So it is what it is. But when you put yourself out there like that, and you have all that out there, you know, with the Millie Bobby Brown stuff, and you know what I mean, and it's a material that can be used against you. And because Kendrick has insulated himself, and he's built up a reputation of being essentially a ghost. You can't find him. He's not on the internet. You don't see him tweeting. You don't see him on Instagram. You don't see him at parties. You don't see him at events. Kendrick Lamar has a mystique. There's nothing about Kendrick Lamar that you can Google or find. He's a very private individual. Drake is the complete opposite. So when you put your life out there like that, the way Drake has, he's an easier target to hit. That's the sad reality. That's the sad reality. When you build your life the way Drake has, and you move the way he's moved, he's a bigger target to hit than a J. Cole or a Kendrick or a Big Crit. You get what I'm saying? Or even a Big Sean. Drake has completely opened his life up to the world. And this is what happens when the wrong things get attached to you. This isn't the first time people have looked at Drake sideways about dealing with younger women or having questionable behavior. It's not the first time. But I don't think he's a PDF. I personally don't think so. But the way Kendrick rapped it and the way it landed, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Freaky ass nigga need to steady ass inside. Freaky ass nigga, he's a 69 god. And that was masterful. That was masterful by Kendrick Lamar. You got to give credit where credit is due. He turned egregious allegations into a summer anthem. You know what I heard some of these young kids saying? These young kids, they not even saying no Diddy no more. They're saying no Drizzy, no Drake. I'm hearing these kids saying no Drizzy. I'm like, what? Freaky ass nigga, he's a 69 god. Yo, it was masterful. It was clever. It was hilarious. Kendrick Lamar gave us so many funny moments throughout this whole thing. Drake did too, though. But Drake had misstep after misstep after misstep. If we want to call Kendrick taking the bait, because I don't believe that either. But if we want to call Kendrick taking the hiding a child bait a misstep, Drake has had significantly more missteps throughout this whole situation. He has. Dank says, what does 69 God mean? So listen to this real quick, right? So Drake, refers to himself. Infamous, you'll be surprised. Infamous. I thought that too. Infamous says Tony's kids can't name 5 Kendrick songs. Infamous, I thought that too until I spoke to him. Infamous, you can say that all you want. Kendrick is arguably one of the biggest rappers on the planet. It's not a question. You can have a preference for who you like, but don't deny a man's greatness. That's the stuff I hate. You can have a preference for who you like. That's cool, right? You can say J. Cole is better or you prefer him, whatever it may be, but don't discount his greatness. Kendrick Lamar is arguably one of the greatest rap stars, one of the greatest hip-hop acts we've ever seen. So yeah. Anyway, where was I? OD says K-Dot gave us a summer banger. Absolutely. OD also says Drake is the uncle that won't let go and grow up. Definitely Uncle Rico. Yo, Trey funny, man. He says, yo, fuck Chip Kelly. I'm out. Jay Nice says Drake had a whole misstep about the Mother I Sober song. Yeah, that was a misstep. He also had a misstep when he mentioned he also had a misstep when he on Family Matters, right? Remember when he said you rapping like you're trying to free the slaves? Remember he said that? Remember when Drake said you rapping like you trying to free your slaves? That was a misstep. Kendrick turned that into a whole verse. And it even added more validity and more credence to Kendrick's whole point about you're not of the culture. You're just a guest here. And I also want to make this clear too. Kendrick's angle, Kendrick wasn't bullying Drake because he is half white, half black. That's not what he was referring to when he was talking about him not being of the culture. He's referring to his inability to connect to what's important to black people, being tone deaf. You don't say that line if you're not, if you're tone deaf. Kendrick turned a whole verse into that mistake. You validated his argument against you. So, it was exciting to see play out for sure. And then I don't know if you guys noticed. Oh, my bad, Dank, my bad. Sorry. So 69 guy, right? So Drake historically used to refer to himself as the sixth god. They call Toronto the six, if I'm not mistaken. In slang, they refer to Toronto as the six, right? And Drake started calling himself the sixth god, meaning he's the god and he's the god of MC of Toronto. Toronto is his city. So he started calling himself the sixth god, right? Then Kendrick flipped that. And we all know 69 is a sexual position. So he basically sexualized Drake's nickname. Drake calls himself the sixth god. Kendrick flipped it and started calling him the 69 god. And also on the West Coast, right? If somebody call you freaky or a weirdo, that's a major sign of disrespect. Like growing up, calling somebody a weirdo, that was disrespect. On the West Coast, same thing. Call somebody freaky or a weirdo, those fighting words. So he basically turned Drake's name into a joke. Freaky ass nigga, he's a 69 god. Say OV ho. Like he turned allegations into a summer anthem. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's honestly hilarious. It's hilarious. And then, I've never heard a rapper give a history lesson on a bop. Kendrick gave a history lesson. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. It was honestly hilarious. Private McClunky said, ain't nothing wrong with a little 69. Oh, man. Big Trag says, so who you think can match up with K-Dot? That's a good question because K-Dot, see, here's another thing about that situation too, right? What K-Dot did throughout this whole beef, he gave you the full range, the full repertoire of not only his rapping ability, but his ability to maximize hip hop for everything that it is, right? Kendrick gave you the hard hitting spitting record like Euphoria. He gave you the club banger with They Not Like Us. He gave you another club banger and Like That you can play anywhere with Future. He gave you the deep dark hip hop head records with Meet the Grams and 616 in LA. Kendrick gave you a full range of the skill set. Kendrick gave you a full range of hip hop. It was masterful what Kendrick did. He hit him with the 5 fingers of death. But I don't want to discount this, right? I feel like Drake was rapping his ass off. Family Matters, he was snapping. He was snapping. My favorite verse on Family Matters might be either the second one or the third one. Oh my God. Here come Kyrie Gary with the nonsense. He says, this is hilarious that we having this talk. Props to Kendrick, but he not selling out shows like Drake. Drake got more hits and nothing else matters. You sound idiotic, Kyrie. And I love you to death, but you sound idiotic. Now, is Drake a bigger artist? Yeah, he is, because he's a pop star. He makes pop songs. He taps into the R&B. Like Drake is a world. Drake, he covers a lot of bases just from his sound. Drake, copies a lot of sounds and all that kind of stuff. But Drake is a hit maker. That's a fact. Drake is a hit maker. Drake is an absolute hit maker, right? But what Kendrick showed you in this beef is that he can do it all. Not only can he rap, but he can give you the club bangers. And that was what everybody was concerned about. Everybody was wondering, oh, can Kendrick drop one for the club, though? Can Kendrick drop something that these people could dance to? It's going to come down to the bigger song. And arguably, throughout this whole beef, Kendrick dropped 2 of the biggest songs. The numbers are telling you. Kendrick out-rapped Drake. He out-executed Drake. He's beating him. He's beating him with the numbers, the metrics. You want to know what the biggest song in Toronto is right now, or in Canada? You want to know what the number 1 song is in Canada right now? It's They Not Like Us. The biggest song, the hottest song in Canada right now is They Not Like Us. And Kyrie is trying to give Drake credit for going Kids Bop. That's the problem now, Kyrie. Wake up. That's the problem now. Don't you understand the assignment? Don't you understand the allegations he's facing? Out of everything you said Drake can go Kids Bop. Another misstep. Come on, man. Yo, another misstep. Drake fans don't want to accept it. Your man lost. Your man lost. And Kendrick proved that see, here's the problem. Drake thought he was bigger than the culture. Drake thought he was bigger than the culture. That's the problem. He thought he was bigger than the culture. And every step of the way, Kendrick out-executed him. Scale Blazer says, last thing Drake want to do is kids anything. Exactly. And guess what? Even if it's lies, but the bottom line is the accusations are out there. The notion is out there. Like, y'all keep acting like this street shit. This is music. This is hip hop. Kyrie said, in Philly, you can't call somebody a rat or a petty and I had a proof. I agree. In real life, you can't just put that on somebody's name without proof. In real life. But this is a rap beef. That's what you guys keep failing to understand. This is rap beef. There are no fucking rules in rap beef. Stop trying to create some. Stop. This is the problem now. People keep trying to create rules in rap beef. And another problem is people keep talking about Kendrick like he's not a top tier MC, like he's not a top tier artist. Like, I don't understand why people are minimizing Kendrick's. Kendrick has been in the game for as long as Drake has, 15 years and counting. Kendrick has dropped classic after classic after classic. Now Drake drops more. He's more present. That's what he does. Drake has more quantity. He's more quantity, but Kendrick drops higher quality music, and it goes without saying. It's an absolute fact. But again, I'm not trying to convince you to like Kendrick. I'm trying to motivate you to respect the pen and respect the artist. Although Drake isn't my number one or number two, I still understand Drake's impact and I respect it. And I would never disrespect Drake's impact on music. I would never do that. But what some people like to do is in defending Drake, they want to act like Kendrick don't move numbers. Kendrick sells a lot. Kendrick does world tours regularly, sells out regularly. What are we saying here? Kendrick is an icon. I don't understand this notion that Drake fans want to plant out there that Kendrick is not a big artist. If you want to put Drake 1A, okay. You want to know who's 1B? It's Kendrick. The two biggest names in rap are Kendrick and Drake. But Infamous, Drake does have lyrical songs. He does. No, see. Well, that's your opinion, but he does. Drake has lyrical songs. Drake had Drake can rap when he wants to. But the problem with Drake is that he's trying too hard to stay relevant. He's always trying to follow a trend rather than just growing with his music and rapping how he wants to rap and putting out music. Like he's constantly trying to stay hot and always trying to appeal to kids. And it's like, with all due respect, brother, you 37, you almost 40 years old. Like, when you going to grow up in the music? When is the music going to start growing? That's just me, though. That's me. Anyway, back to football. Kyrie says, Tone, do you think this new OC will have Hurts carving up the field instead of throwing deep posts all game? I hope so, man. Like, I'm really hoping that Kellen Moore brings out the best in this Philadelphia Eagles offense, because they have entirely too much talent for them to be as passive on offense as they were last year. And on top of that, a lot of pressure is mounting on Jalen Hurts and his team. There's a ton of pressure to go around. Let's be honest. There's a ton of pressure to go around. Infamous says Cole was the best lyricist out of the three. Well, look, man. That's your opinion, which is fine. Mozzie is hot, by the way. But that's your opinion. That's your opinion, Infamous. I mean, I'm not mad at you for having a preference. I ain't mad at that. But one thing I will say though, that big three shit is dead. That big three shit is dead. There's only one. And Kendrick proved who that is. Yo, Dank says, I love Roddy Ricch. My favorite rapper. Yo, I love Roddy Ricch too, man. I love Roddy Ricch too. Dope King says, do you watch One Piece? Not enough to have a conversation about it. Not enough to have a conversation about it. But I do love anime. I am a big anime fan for sure. See, that's another Infamous. Thank you. That's another line. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? It's like, huh? Like, it's just crazy. Why would you say some shit like that, Drake? What? It's not Big Three. It's just Big D and it's video proof. Why would you say something like that in the middle of a rap beef? What? It's crazy. It's just nasty. Like, well, come on, bro. Really? When you facing those allegations, you talking about that's how you talking? Dope King says, wait until the fall off. Yeah, man. I hope it's good. Well, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be good, but I hope he treads lightly on there, because Kendrick Kendrick made him fold, and he made Drake fold. Eagle Slayer says, Tone, what did you think of the Andre 3000 flute, John? You know what's funny about that? That's the kind of project you play in the background. I listened to it once, and sonically it sounds good. It's peaceful, but that's not something that you're just. That's not something you just playing, right? That's like something you play in the background. That's like something. That's like something you play. That's like something you play when you're at a massage parlor or something. Infamous says, Tone, you got me questioning how much Cole you listen to. Bro, I love Cole, bro. I grew up with Cole, bro. Come on, man. I'm 29 years old. Cole came on when I was in high school. Like, he says, did you listen to the Might Delete Later or only? No, I listened to the whole thing. He's rapping. Bro, I don't want people to get me misconstrued here. J. Cole is arguably the best lyricist in the game right now. But Kendrick is my number one. That's all. J. Cole was my number two. And then I put Drake at number three. That's my personal order. That's just me. But I love J. Cole. I went to the KOD. Bro, I was at the KOD tour at the Wells Fargo. I was at the off-season tour at the Wells Fargo. I spent good money fucking with J. Cole. So this almost called, this man said Might Delete Later is a classic. First of all, you want to know why Might Delete Later won't really get appreciated for what it really is? You want to know why? You want to know why? No, but listen up. Do y'all want to know why Might Delete Later is not going to get the proper respect? It's because of how he rolled it out and the context surrounding his altercation with Kendrick. And how everything went with Drake. He's rapping his ass off on there. I like the joint with him in Daylight. What's the song with him in Daylight? What's that record with him in Daylight? I'm trying to remember what it's called. I can't remember. What's the song with him in Daylight? Here it is. Pie. Oh my God. Pie was insane. I'm a huge Ab Soul fan, by the way. Thanks, FaZe. I appreciate it. But Pie was amazing. Amazing. They snapped. But I'm not going to call Might Delete Later a classic. I'm just not. Just not. Not yet. It just came out. Maybe, but what, last month? But anyway, where was I? When it comes to the equal stuff, where was I? Yeah, I think we're looking at this coaching staff, and we're asking ourselves, can they bring the best out of the personnel? Because when we thought about Brian Johnson and Sean Desai and Matt Patricia, we didn't see them getting the most out of this roster. Now, granted, the defensive side, I don't know how much you could get out of that. But in my humble opinion, let me see here. Oh, my dad's in the building. He says, Jay is the man, but Kendrick is the best lyricist. Love you, son. No, I feel you, right? I feel you. J. Cole is the man. But I think it's funny. One of my dad's favorite Kendrick Lamar lines is when he was on the Mask Off remix with Future, and He said, bitch, my hair down, Prince lived through me. Like, that's not even really that's not even really a complex bar, but it's just for some reason that line resonates with my dad a lot. Whenever Kendrick makes a Prince reference, my dad eat that shit up. My dad eat that shit up, man. whenever Kendrick make a Prince reference, my dad eat that shit up. He eat it up, man. Let's see here. Yeah, I know, right? Like tonight, this is a very weird live stream right now, you guys. So bear with us. We're kind of just winging it here. We're all over the place. We were talking about the coaches for the Eagles, and all of a sudden we started talking about music, and it's all good. We're just kicking it. It's no big deal. We're just hanging out. We're just hanging out, man. It's no big deal. Infamous said, my favorite Kendrick song is Duckworth. Duckworth is a really, really good song. Really, really good song. One of my favorite Kendrick songs might be High Power. That's on Section 80. HOC, which is on Overly Dedicated. Average Joe, that's on Overly Dedicated as well. I love Absol's outro. I love Cushion Corinthians stuff. That's all Section 80. I love the song. I love the song Nostalgia with Pusha T and Kendrick. Oh, Dope King, I think you just mentioned that. Nostalgia with Pusha T and Kendrick. That's hip hop right there. That's rap. See, I like rap. I like motherfuckers that's rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like, with all due respect, I like rap. But your Good Kid, Mad City, Dying a Third, Sing About Me. Mad City and Money Trees and the Good Kid record. Shireen, aka Master Splinter's daughter. Man, and then you go to Pimp a Butterfly, you go to hood, you go to Hood Politics. You go to Black of the Berry, then you got Mortal Man. Wesley's Theory. What else we got there? These Walls. You know what I'm saying? Like it's insane. And damn. I mean, come on, beginning to end. The Triple X record. Feel. Lust. Element. DNA. Humble. Fear. God. Duckworth. Like, Kendrick is a master at what he does. He's a master. J. Cole was a master as well. And so was Drake. They're all masters of what they do. They're all here. I think we all can definitively say that all three of those guys are masters at what they do. They're masters. And Kung Fu Kenny, he won this go around. That's all it is. It doesn't necessarily take away from what those guys do. All those guys are masters at what they do. They're masters. And sometimes masters get sometimes they get knocked out too. It happens. I'll tell you this though. I knew Kendrick wasn't playing when he told Drake. He said, I don't like you beefing with Pharrell. No, what he say? He said, I don't like you popping shit at Pharrell. I inherit the beast. He said, I inherit the beef. So fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. He's Terrence Thornton. I'm Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm whooping feet. I'm like, oh, he's serious. He's serious. He said, fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. He's Terrence Thornton. I'm Terrence Crawford here. I'm whooping feet. Whoa. It's crazy. If you don't know what that means, whooping feet is slang for knocking somebody out their shoes. It's slang for stopping somebody the fuck out. It's slang for whooping somebody's ass. You know what, Infamous? I feel like that whole Drake Meek situation would have ended a lot differently if Meek would have been sober. Meek was perked out of his mind around that time. Listen, I don't care what nobody say. I'm still a Meek Mill fan. I don't care what nobody say. I still love Meek music. That's just me. Free the wave. Free the wave. Yeah, Dank. Free the wave. Free the wave. Oh, bang, Eagles bang. I forgot about that song. Lil Wayne and Kendrick Mona Lisa. See, that's fire to me. That's fire. My dad says, yes, all great artists, everyone has their season. That's all it is. You know, Drake been at the top for the past 10 years, man. He'll be okay. People still gonna listen to the music. It's gonna be all right. But Kendrick had to learn on one. Bro, Infamous. He is slept on. FaZe, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that. Man. Thank you. Now, people don't understand. Meek was spitting back in the day. Bloodhounds, Mr. Philadelphia, Flamers, 1, 2, and 3. Like people don't know. Meek had this shit on lock, man. I wish he would stop tweeting, though. I'll be honest. I need Meek to stay off the internet. That's what I need. I need Meek to stay off the internet. He need to stop tweeting, man. That's his downfall right now. Stop tweeting. Thanks, said Flamers is such bad timing. That's funny. He said Flamers is such bad timing. Chris Colbert says Uzi better than Weak Mill. Man. Yo, my dad funny. He said, yeah, Meek fans. There's levels to this shit. Yo, my dad. Yo, my dad funny. Listen, see, everywhere we went, man, like, my dad really listened to music for real. My dad really, my dad is the one that really had me digging deep into the crate. Like my dad put me on Public Enemy and put me on early LL Cool J and NWA and the Real DOC and Nate Dogg. Put me on Black Thought. Put me on DMX. And listen, I remember years ago, Dad. I don't know if you remember this, but years ago you brought me a cassette player or a tape, a Walkman. You brought me a Walkman years ago, and in it was a DMX cassette. I don't know if you remember this, but it was your Walkman. It was your Walkman, and you let me use it, and you had DMX in there, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I'm like, what is this? This is masterful. This is insane. So yeah, my dad had me listen. My dad had me digging deep in hip hop, man. Slick Rick, like Eric B and Rakim. People don't want to give Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff the credit they deserve. Slappy U.S. City with the really brand new funk, like. I love hip hop. I love music. Wu-Tang, yeah, my dad put me on Wu-Tang. Into the 36 Chambers, and then you got Raekwon who came out with Only Built for Cuban Links, and I think you had GZA come out with Liquid Swords. I think that was Jizza, right? Liquid Swords, Big Daddy Kane. I think that was Jizza, right? Liquid Swords. Jizza, yep, that was Jizza. Liquid Swords. Like Big Daddy Kane is a what? Big Daddy Kane is just different. He's different. Big Daddy Kane with what's the joint? What's the joint? Raw. Big Daddy Kane Raw? What? Insane. My dad had me listening to the Dog Pound. Had me listening to Mobb Deep. The infamous. Ghostface, older. Come on, you meth. Yo, yeah. Now we talking. Now we listen. I know this is I know we're Eagles fans and all that, but we also like music too. Infamous said, Tone, do you like No Cap? You know what's so funny? I don't actively listen. I don't actively listen to No Cap. My brother put me on. My brother's 24 years old. I don't actively listen to No Cap, but whenever he send me a No Cap song to listen to, it's hot. So I don't know. Like I like him, but I don't listen to him. Do that make sense? Like he's not like somebody I actively seek out. But my brother put me on No Cap. He always sending me No Cap songs, and every time I listen to one, it's a vibe. So I ain't got nothing bad to say about No Cap. Everything I've heard from No Cap is fire. That's just me. Facts. It's so funny. My dad put us on the old school, and me and my brother put him on the new school. Big Pun, the Punisher. What? MF Doom. Wow, Eric. You know what's funny? You know what's funny, Eric? MF Doom is an acquired taste. He's a very unique artist. Rest in peace to MF Doom. Rest in peace. He is an acquired taste for sure. One thing I will give credit to Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole. They're students of the game. All three of them. And the one thing that I love about everything that came out of this is at the end of the day, you gotta rap. At the end of the day, if you want to be the best, or if you want to be considered one of the biggest artists in the game, you gotta rap. That's why I love what Drake did. I love what Kendrick did. I love what J. Cole. You gotta rap. I love what Ross did. You gotta rap. All these other up-and-coming artists that's coming on, I hope they were studying. I hope. Oh yeah, Cameron, Killer Cam. That SDE album is crazy. SDE, I love that album. Obviously, Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, all that, like Cypress Hills. Yo, you know what's funny? I love Busta Rhymes growing up. I love Busta Rhymes, the Tribe Called Quest, Goody Mob. You know, all that. Master P. Who else? You know, the whole No Limit imprint, Hot Boys. But that's the most, Eric, I'm glad you brought him up. I'm so glad I forgot about him. Mos Def. I love Mos Def. My Umi said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. My Umi said, shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see. Mos Def, my man. I love Mos Def. Talib Kweli, yeah. Black Star, yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't know. Look, I love hip hop. Listen, I'm also an R&B head too. I love R&B. Listen, I love rap, but I love R&B. That's just me though. That's just me, man. That's just me, y'all. I don't know. But look, man, I'm gonna get out of here. It's always fun kicking it with y'all. I know this was a very, very different live stream that we normally do. KGK says, "Who your top 5?" Ooh, oh, I hate that question. I hate that question. My top 5. Okay, so before I get out of here, you want KGK? Are you talking about my top, like my personal top 5, or who I think is top 5 greatest ever, regardless of my opinion? Do you do you want my personal top 5, or the top 5 that I have regardless of my personal preference? Okay. You guys might laugh at this, but my top 5, and I don't really have, and I can't really rank them right now, but my top 5 is Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Rick Ross, um, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Rick Ross. Damn, you got me thinking. And remember, I'm 29 years old. I'm 29 years old, okay? So just want to give you guys some context. I'm 29 years old. Oh man, that is a good question. Oh man. Okay. Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Rick Ross, Pusha T, Styles P. Those are my 5 favorite rappers. Just me. Just me. And but that's not, I'm not talking about the greatest rappers of all time, not including my preference, right? My personal preference, my favorite rappers, my favorite rappers are my top 5 favorite rappers are Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Rick Ross, Pusha T, and Styles P. I don't think Styles P gets enough respect. Styles P is a that's a man right there. I'm a Styles P fan for real. But look, I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. I appreciate y'all. It's always fun. Y'all already know how we give it up here. Again, I understand. I understand this has been a very, very different live stream than what we normally do. This dude said Little Romeo. But yeah, I know this is very different than what we normally do. But I appreciate you guys for rolling with me nonetheless. If you guys haven't already, excuse me. If you guys haven't already, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show, especially if you're new. If this was your first time listening to the live stream, my apologies. We normally keep it strictly on the sports for the most part. Granted, though, I am trying to grow the channel, right? Chalk It Up Sports, I want it to be bigger than just sports, right? My overall goal for Chalk It Up Sports is for it to be a cultural hub talking about sports, our Philadelphia Eagles, covering the culture, music. That's kind of my larger vision for this platform. But we're starting with our pocket, right? We're starting with our niche. I want to bring in my Eagles brethren, my Eagles fans first, right? And then we're going to expand little by little. Because again, if you guys go on the channel, you'll notice the banner, sports, culture, entertainment, health. My goal is to build Chalk It Up Sports beyond just sports. You feel me? The goal is to build it to be a perfect example. You know how Shannon Sharp, he talk about sports, but he also talks to comedians and talks about pop culture and whatnot, right? So I'm just trying to, the goal is to ultimately build this thing into being something bigger than just sports. But the Philadelphia Eagles is something that we're always going to talk about no matter what. When it comes to sports, we're going to cover our Philadelphia sports. That's a fact. And, we'll leave it at that, you guys. I appreciate it. Please, again, make sure you guys smash that like button. It goes without saying. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys have been locked in on your special dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.